Big Brother 25 finally concluded after what seemed to be a never-ending season, so as promised, I'm here to review it and go over the good, the bad, and all of the ugly. Before we get into the video, make sure you're subscribed with post notifications turned on so you never miss any of my future uploads, and while you're at it, I would also greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video too. It was my first time editing in this kind of format and it took a lot of work, so fingers crossed everything comes out looking okay. And one last thing, make sure you proceed with caution as this video will contain spoilers. Let's start off with one of the positives of this season. This will probably come as a surprise as I typically never say this, but I really enjoyed the cast as a whole overall. We had a lot of unique, over the top personalities, and while annoying at times, I found most of the BB25 cast to be pretty likable people. Even the respective villains of the season pale in comparison to past Vile House guests we've seen. I think the issue is since we have watched them for 100 days and things are still pretty fresh, people really hate this cast, but as time goes on, I think the cast and maybe even the season as a whole will age well. Once we saw this group start playing the game, things looked promising. After Queen Riley, who deserves more recognition by the way, won the first HOH, she set the stage for a season of messy gameplay by splitting the house in two. We saw her joined by the likes of Blue, Jag, America, Matt, and Cameron on one side to form the Handful Alliance, while reality TV legend Cirie Fields led the charge on the other side of the house with the likes of Izzy, Felicia, Nicole, and Bowie Jane, also known as
Bye bye bitches.
which fun fact abbreviates to BBB like Big Brother Boy. On paper, it seemed like we were going to be fed well this year, but then almost instantaneously, shit hit the fan. Within a matter of days, we saw Cameron sell out the Handful Alliance to the Bye Bye Bitches for seemingly no reason. This leads us into our first negative, the overplaying. We as a community almost always ask to see a cast that plays hard, but this cast took that wish to the next level. From flipping 1 minute to unflipping the next, to a million alliances forming with different variations of the same people, this cast took no breaks. And on top of that, every single person on both sides of the house constantly spilled every piece of game information to what seemed to like everyone, even people they weren't aligned with.
So who are you aligned with right now?
I feel most comfortable right now. Jag is really comfortable with me.
Yeah.
I really like Corey. Corey to me is just like a very genuine, nice guy. I really like him. I really like Blue. I think Jared is someone that I can see working with down the line. I really like Jared.
It was mind-boggling to watch and exhausting to keep up with. Maybe it's just me because I was covering the live feeds daily while simultaneously going to school and working full-time, but it was insanely difficult to keep up with because of the awful messy gameplay this season. I would literally write a day's worth of notes and have to pivot late in the night because a house guest did something brainlessly or ran their mouth too much, which caused a complete 180 in the house. And these wouldn't be occasional occurrences, they would happen almost daily for a good chunk of the season. It really was tiring to watch, let alone keep up with and try to cover every single day. This may seem petty, but this nauseating gameplay took place in probably the ugliest design house I've ever seen. Like seriously, who thought this house would be a good idea? I felt like pouring bleach in my eyes every time I had to look at it. The multiverse theme had potential to be somewhat interesting. Big Brother did what they do best and ruined it with the oversaturation of gimmicks. I mean, the finale literally concluded with Frankie Grande playing with his time laser. And that is a sentence I never thought I would have to say. Combine that with the bathroom humor themed competitions and jokes, and you see exactly why people say the show has become a laughing stock. It's a shame too, because this game has the potential to be one of the most intellectually respected shows around if taken seriously by the producers, but instead we get a product that is catered to toddlers. It wasn't all bad though. There were a few saving graces that came out of watching this cast overplay, and that's the fights we got. Fighting is probably my favorite part of Big Brother, and this season produced a few good ones, like America and Corey versus Felicia.
Felicia, so I don't know what they were talking about this morning, because these final fours that we've been hearing about have been coming from you.
All you guys are such liars. How long you think your game gonna last riding under Corey?
I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, so you always don't want to do it.
Look, I would love to talk to you privately. that is what happened.
See, because the private conversations is where you can lie. You know he does it, because he comes back and tells you what he hears.
Corey versus Jared.
Did you tell him about For Real, For Real?
Who for real, for real?
Really?
This is why I just brought her here. You've been a part of more meetings than I have been.
And then you come in here to have the show to everybody and say, look, guys, Corey's lying. I'm telling the truth because I'm talking in a loud volume and I'm not letting him say a word. It's bull, Jared. Didn't Jared just come in and tell us that
Never said
an
it to
hour
me.
ago?
You must have misunderstood.
No,
When's
no,
the-
whoa.
Hold on.
And who can forget the iconic Suri and Felicia altercation?
The
No,
vote was
ain't no growth.
on my mama dead. Listen, if you want to do it like that and we get them together because it happened right here in this room.
Decided
Hold
they
on.
wanted
Yes.
to keep me, and you guys were in there battling, and your argument started because you was mad at Matt and Corey and everybody else was flipping the vote. 'Cause
Everybody was voting against you.
Everybody was voting against him tonight. You don't know when it was because you wasn't there.
You don't remember that conversation outside, Mama Felicia?
Look at me now.
Don't do
Did
that.
not
Look at
tell
me
you that I
now.
was not going to
Look
do
at
a
me
final
now.
two, and everything that I have ever said, I've told you guys, I've said everything.
Honestly, Felicia should count as her own little positive to the season. She carried BB25 in the entertainment department. She was funny, outgoing, sometimes irritating, but in the best way possible. Not to mention, she holds the record for being the oldest woman to play the game and was definitely this year's most dynamic character. On top of all of that, I gained even more love and respect for her for listening to her stories about how she survived her battle with intimate partner violence. It's just a true testament to how strong and great of a person Felicia is, and I really don't think this season would have been the same without her. This season unfortunately suffers from a huge weakness, and that's how long it was. Statistically, BB25 is only one day longer than a lot of other modern seasons, being 100 days compared to 99 days, but this year it dragged as a result of a few things. For starters, the season premiered in August and concluded in November. Usually Big Brother airs all throughout the summer, which is a good thing because it's a show that requires a lot of investment from fans. Between the live feeds and episodes that air 3 times a week, BB is not the easiest show to keep up with, but having it air during the summer when most people are less busy is what makes the overbearing viewing experience possible. Making the decision to have the majority of the season take place during the fall and into the winter was certainly a choice. For me, I became extremely overwhelmed with school and work, and I really could not find the time to keep up with, which I know a lot of fans also had issues with. The thing that hurt the pacing of the season the most, and is my biggest negative of the season, was the lackluster twist. After 18 years of fans begging for the pressure cooker to come back, production finally gave in and put it in BB25. After 14 grueling hours, Cameron won and had Jag evicted unanimously that week. There was just one small, well, I guess large issue. Production thought this would be the prime opportunity to implement an eviction canceling twist, nullifying this week, which was annoying for a multitude of reasons, one of which we'll talk about in a little bit.
The BB power of invincibility has been activated. That means the house guest you just voted out is now invincible and cannot be evicted. Jag, you are safe tonight. Your game continues on, and you have another shot at the $750,000.
As a fan, it was extremely annoying and felt pointless watching America, Mecole, and Cameron duke it out all night in the pressure cooker just for a dumbass twist to make the week void anyway. This wasn't the only twist that slowed things down either. Just a couple of weeks later, Cameron, with the help of America and Corey, successfully dismantled the power trio of the house, being Suri, Izzy, and Jared. It was exhilarating to watch and easily the most exciting gameplay we saw all season long. Following Izzy's eviction, Jared and Cameron were evicted together in the double eviction, but once again, production put into place probably the most disorganized twist in the show's history. The BB Zombies, as they were called, Jared and Cam returned to the house instantly after they were both evicted that night. There was just one catch. Neither were returning as players. At the end of the week, the two of them would compete in a competition where one of them would get to come back into the game as a full-fledged player. In addition to the zombies, production implemented the most puzzling twist yet. That other house guests would get a vacation this week. There was no HOH, no nominations, no veto, and no eviction. Just the house guests and BB Zombies lounging around for a week waiting for either Jared or Cameron to come back into the game. This was a horribly thought out twist and killed all of the momentum the season had been building thus far. It was beyond awkward to watch feeds without any formal gameplay. Yes, there was scheming and plotting, but it was mostly the same cycle of conversations being had and alliances being formed, with nothing able to be acted on because there was no competitions, noms, or eviction. The most mind-boggling part about this was that they did it 2 weeks after Jag's eviction was cancelled. So in the span of about 3 weeks, we watched 3 evictions be cancelled along with a whole week of literally no gameplay. It was beyond abysmal. I honestly want to know how this made it past the writer's room. As we approach the final stretch of the video, we have to talk about the winner. I'm writing this a week after Jag won, and I'm still a bit iffy on his win. On one hand, I really like Jag and have been a fan of his since the beginning. I've been higher on him as a character than most people have, so in that regard, I enjoyed seeing him win. If there's one thing I am, though, it's real, and I have to be real about his win. It blows my mind that a person who was evicted won the game sitting next to someone who hasn't been. The entire point of Big Brother is to not be evicted. Yes, there are variables such as social, strategic, and physical game, but you use those as tools to be the last one standing and not be evicted. Jag didn't do that. He trusted the wrong people and made many errors which led to his eviction. He lost. He was saved by a huge stroke of luck that I feel has been overshadowed by his other accolades. Eviction cancellations are rare on Big Brother. They aren't staples like vetoes, double evictions, or even battlebacks. The only other times I can think of this happening was Jeff's coup d'etat in BB11, the reset buttons in BB14 and 16, and Jessica's halting hex in BB19. To put into perspective just how lucky Jag had to get, he first needed production to add a power to the game that nullified his eviction the exact week he was evicted. He then needed Matt, the only other person who would have used the power, to be liked enough by America the country that they would vote for him to play in the competition. He then needed Matt to beat out the other 3 competitors to win the power and save him. This amount of luck is insane and really needs to be discussed more. If any other house guests were given the same saving grace, things would have panned out very differently. There's no other way to put it. Jag's game was contingent on luck. After being saved, I agree his game picked up and was rather impressive, but that does not negate the beginning half of his game, which was a sloppy mess. As a whole, Jag's game was inconsistent, and I really do believe Matt should have won this season. I was impressed by how Matt went into the game as a huge physical threat, yet was able to fly completely under the radar by covering his ass on all sides. He knew when to withhold information, when to rat people out, and when to cut people loose. You can make the argument that Matt also benefited from the power by Jag, his number 1 ally, being granted a second chance, which I agree with, but Matt would have got to the end no matter what. The only reason he was somewhat targeted was because of his allegiance to Jag, and even then, Jag was always the target over him. Take out that luck-based variable, and Matt slides to the end anyway, just with a different person, probably Cirie. His game was solid, and I do believe he was robbed of the win, which definitely puts a bad taste in my mouth for the season. Luck was rewarded. Since I never covered the finale itself, here are some of my quick thoughts before we end the video. It was pretty boring. The only somewhat interesting part was Cirie and Jared being revealed as mother and son. America and Mecole deserved more screen time. America should have been at least top 3 for America's favorite house guest, no pun intended, but it's okay because she's already number 1 in my heart. I will say though, I'm content with Cameron winning it instead. I low-key think I like Cameron now, or at least respect the work he put into making the season a little bit more bearable. And finally, the Bowie Jane's jury question meme needs to be put down. It is overused and not even that funny. Thank you, this meeting is adjourned.
How did your game change for, I'm going to say the better, when you joined the Mafia with Matt and I?
Overall, I don't think BB25 is a bottom of the barrel season. Like I said earlier, I think it'll age better with time. The cast was filled with big characters, it was just that the horrible twist killed all of the momentum and hurt the watchability of it. With all that off my chest, I'm going to give Big Brother 25 a C+ rating, or a 5.5 out of 10 if you don't understand letters. I want to send a huge thank you out to all of my subscribers who supported me this season. I apologize again for stopping the live feed updates abruptly. I really struggled to find the time and motivation to keep up. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. I hope you found it enjoyable. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one, and comment down below your rating for BB25. I'm gonna go, but I will leave you with one last positive. my newest favorite DR session of all time that was produced as a result of the great Blue Kim.
So of course Miss Body Yaddy Yaddy Mimi has a big salad.